I've made a handful of modifications to the Bronco Raptor since I've gotten it. Things like onboard air, the roof rack, light bar, pillar lights, GMRS radio, interior lights. Okay, it's a lot of lights. But today I've got a new mod that is going to gain at least 15 horsepower. It's probably the most pointless thing I've done to the vehicle yet, but it's going to go from this to this. Modifying your vehicle can be quite addictive. Once you get through the low-hanging fruit and all that remains is the big ticket items, you start looking for little projects you can squeeze in between those. Some of those small projects are things we can do around the appearance of the vehicle. Now there's a fine line between tasteful and tacky. I'm looking at you Jeep people with the grumpy grills, but there's a few things I think we can do to make the Bronco look just a little bit more appropriate to its character. So today, I'm giving the Raptor a makeover. And one thing's for sure, there's no going back. So I've taken this piece off the bumper, it's just plastic. You can see where I've already scraped it on some rocks. I'm gonna use this bedliner spray called the Raptor. So with a name like that, it can't be bad. I actually saw somebody on a Facebook group who said that they had used this and it turned out good. So figured it was worth a shot. So I'm going to spray this bed liner on this piece here. And then depending on how that goes, I will either use this on the tow hooks or I will use this just standard black matte finish Rust-Oleum on that. So we'll see, depending on how this first part goes, whether I stick with that or whether I do this. There's no going back from this point. Let's see how it goes. Okay. All right. That was much more gray than black. Crap. That is not what I wanted. It's better than the silver. I may have ordered the wrong one. It says basalt gray. Shoot. I had not realized this is not the black I wanted. Doesn't look bad. The finish definitely has that look that's a, kind of the bedliner look. It's just not black. It's just gray. Crap. Pro tip. Before you spray, double check that you got the exact color that you wanted. I had not realized, but this spray is much more of a gray than a black. It is not quite what I had in mind. Still looks better than the silver, but I'm a little bummed out. I was looking at this a little bit more, and you know, I don't hate it. The color is called basalt gray, and I didn't realize when I had ordered it on Amazon that it was not black. And I went and looked at the Amazon listing again. They don't actually have a black. So the gray is what I've got, and it's kind of growing on me. It's darker than the silver that was there before. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the second coat on, let it be gray, let it dry and cure completely. That's my current plan, is to consider it a fortunate accident and see how the gray, the basalt gray, treats me.
24 hours later.
So the gray color didn't last long. I gave it a shot. It looks good, but having the gray and the silver together just didn't make sense. The idea was for this really to be kind of a two-tone between the body color paint and the black. I don't mind the silver skid plate because the aluminum, when it gets scratched up, will kind of show through in that same sort of silver color, but adding a second gray silver color on top of that, in addition to the black, was just too much. It was too much going on. So I went ahead and reverted back to the original plan. All right. Wow, that looks so much better. Yeah, that's what I was going for. I'm happy with that. With the bumper now black, it was time for the second part of my project. Can you tell what it was? Okay, so I swapped out a bunch of stainless steel hardware for black stainless steel hardware. It's maybe a little pointless swapping out perfectly good hardware. It's these little things, these little details, removing the silver from the light bar, the pillar lights, swapping out the lug nuts, the roof rack. When you add these all up, it really makes a difference in the overall look of the vehicle, and I think it looks pretty cool. Swapping the lug nuts was the most expensive part of this project. They were about $150 from CJ Pony Parts for the Ford Performance lug nuts, but I really think changing out from the stainless to the black just makes a significant difference. The roof rack looks so much better this way. Why didn't TrailRax make it with black hardware to begin with? And the light bar, this is one that's bothered me for a little while. I never really liked the look of the stainless steel hardware on the light bar, so swapping that out I think made the biggest difference. I don't know why Heretic doesn't offer all their light bars with black hardware by default. I think it looks so much better. I'm definitely going to be making sure to have black hardware on the upcoming light bar that I'm going to be installing. All told, changing out this hardware probably cost about $200. About $150 in hardware for the lug nuts, and then probably another $50 or so for all the other miscellaneous hardware that went into it. Pro tip, be sure to order your hardware in bulk from Amazon. Now that I finished swapping out the stainless hardware, I'm gonna go ahead and put the mud flaps back on. I decided that after having the sliders on for a while without any mud guard, I was getting way too much dirt on the side of the vehicle. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on, especially now going back into winter. I was able to cut and trim the edges of the factory mud flap with some snippers, and looks like they should fit. So I got some fresh trim clips. I'm just gonna go ahead and snap these guys back on. To see how well the trim mud flaps worked alongside the RCI sliders, I did Raptor things on a snowy dirt road. I'll link that video next. The modified flaps worked pretty well, as you can see from the after footage. Overall, I'm happy with the blacked out bumper and hardware. It was a nice small project to squeeze in ahead of the next install. Thanks for watching.